Mayor Paul Young's plans to fund Memphis for the next fiscal year comes with a nearly $900 million price tag, and that includes a possible 2% raise for all city employees. Now, the mayor presented his proposed budget before City Council during a special called meeting Tuesday night. In it, the mayor highlighted several priorities, including public safety, housing, workforce, and youth development. The mayor earmarked most of the budget, $652 million, to cover cost of city personnel like police, fire, and sanitation workers.
This is a people-driven budget. Our total budget is about $897 million that we are proposing. $652 million of that is personnel. That's 72% of the budget. 72% of the budget.
So, of course, the next step is City Council. They will have to vote on whether to accept the mayor's proposed budget. I'll open it up to Catherine here. So is this a win for the city of Memphis or Memphians as far as, do you think this is a good budget, or how did he do?
I think that depends on how you look at it. It is a tough revenue year for the city of Memphis. So I think a lot of Memphians are going to be glad to hear that there's no tax increase. And I know I've talked to some city employees who have said, we're really glad to get a 2% increase because it could have been none in a tight year like this. I will say that there's no money going back into the fund balance as of proposed right now. A particular interest of mine is the Memphis Area Transit Authority, which the mayor has slated $32.5 million for. So more than the current year, but less than the year prior. So there's a lot of just like push and pull in this budget, and I think I'm very curious to see what the council members do with it, because the mayor's budget is certainly not finalized.
Yeah, we haven't touched on MATA in a while, but I can already kind of see that will be a future topic.
Just 2.5 and less than the year before this current one is something that advocates are not going to be happy about.
And leadership changes are coming as well, I believe.
Yes, that's true.
Otis, I'll let you make the point on this.
Yeah, I think Catherine explained the details in really good fashion here. The thing that stuck out for me was the fact that the city is going to be relying heavily on tax revenue from XAI. If without that money, and we're talking $27 million total, that includes an extra $15 million if the new data center comes online. If without that money, they would be in real bad shape here. And of course, we have a lot of people who are XAI detractors. So again, that's kind of rough on the mayor. I think next year's budget is going to be the real big problem for the mayor. It'll go into an election year next year, and we'll see how he gets through this year in terms of this budget being the flat budget that we're talking about. But he's got things down the road that he really has to pay attention to.
As if he hasn't already had a lot to deal with already.
Exactly.
Former chair here, is this a budget that you think the City Council will approve?
I hope they will, and I hope they won't pick with it. Because sometimes city council members get inside, have pet projects, and start picking and moving things around. And then before you know it, it may be out of balance, or it may come up short in areas where you need. I hope they rely on the staff. I hope they rely on the staff's judgment to see them through this year, because they too will be on the ballot for next year if they if they fumble the ball. And I want to say too now, this is just a personal opinion, and I'm entitled to one. I know people don't like it all the time, but I'm entitled to one. When you have 1% growth in a year, that is lousy. And that speaks to what our Chamber of Commerce is doing too, as well as people who are leaving the city. It's not just people who are leaving the city. And I'm concerned about, are they growing so we can grow? Now, I read an article in the Memphis Business Journal that indicated they got a pretty nice whop from XAI as well, and worked on this thing for 18 months before we even knew anything about it. So all of that speaks to me, the secrecy, the chamber may have been taken care of, but I don't know if the community was. Because, and I haven't heard of many other projects other than XAI. And we have XAI at the threat of lives that could be in danger, and at the threat of a water supply that could be threatened.
Always bringing the perspective and the intel, Tawan. That was great. When we come back, we'll table that one there. I'm sure we could keep going if we had the time. But when we come back, Germantown referendum on the ballot is bringing voters out in that suburb. And then also, we're going to pay tribute to a legendary Tennessee politician.